Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is a Ron Smith Investigating Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we're able to turn your water into wine. Today, we're going to talk about the ways to create wealth. Now, wealth is the abundance of valuable possessions. We're going to talk about finance, but that can be your social network, as well as your physical health and well-being, as well as your time. When you don't have your health, which your health is your wealth, then you will be able to squander your time. You will always be able to create a network of people that you socialize with, and you can always make more money. But your health and your time are two things of your valuable asset you will never be able to get back. And there's a difference between wealth and rich. Rich is a high net worth income annual person that, if I could create a six figure, seven figures, eight figures type income. But if I have a negative debt to asset ratio, I'm just rich because I have all the trappings of rich, but I really don't have the wealth that comes along with it. Today, we're going to talk about the acronym SMART. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And you're creating your plan, your financial plan, it has to be smart. You have to be specific about what you want to achieve. And that could be a dollar amount, it could be a number of things of assets, and it could be reducing your debt and all those things. Measurable is also in line with that is that it could be the dollar amount. Okay, it could be the number of assets. It could be that I want to accumulate at least $10 million a portfolio, and part of that portfolio is meaning that I'm gonna have a 20 multi-level family investment homes that I'm going to do. And I could have maybe a couple $1,000s worth of gold bullion or gold coins. It could be some of the artworks that we can have, some of the famous black painters, which I'm into that. So those things could be measurable. It could be achievable, which means that basically I can do the things within my sphere. Last week I talked about collecting money like the $2 bills. That's something that you can go to the bank, or you can trade within anybody within who has those things, which are relatively easy. And silver coins. Remember, I told you anything that's was created prior to 1964 are pure silver, or 90% silver. And after that, they have a copper finish. And you can also look at the pennies. Get those old pennies that your grandparents that had in their in their old Prince Albert, or that coffee can. So those are things that are can be achievable, even though you may not have money to go to Sotheby's or some of those other high end options. But it has to be relevant to you, and it has to be time bound, which means that basically you need to start immediately, if not sooner. So those are things that you need to have within your portfolio to be smart. The next thing is, how do I get large ticket items when I only have a small amount of money? And the best way to use leverage is what I call OPM. And OPM stands for other people's money. And normally when I talk about other people's money, is that even if you could start an investment group, or you could start a crowd fund, or you could start a GoFundMe, those are using other people's money. Which means that basically, in order for us to get the home that we have our own, or and I suggest that you get a multifamily unit type investment, that takes the same commercial loan that it takes for a home loan, but that's another subject for another day. That you will need to put 3 to 20% down in savings in order to actually get the financial companies to use their 80% to purchase that particular item. And in order to do that, that means that basically you use credit. Now, I always stated that basically there's a thing that there's good credit and there's bad credit. Good credits is that accumulate assets. Bad credit, it accumulates liability. And one of the things you have to realize that buying a new car, once you drive it off the lot, it just decreases in value. Even if you do a U-turn back on the lot, you will never, it won't be worth what it is. So remember that. Also, in order to get credit or be able to purchase those large ticket items, the financial organization is going to ask for your financial report card, which is your credit score. You didn't know that you were, even after school, that you accumulated a report card. So basically, your financial report card is your credit history or your payment history. Now, your score can be from 300 to 850. 850, of course, is the perfect immaculate credit score. And I'm going to touch a little bit on that later, how you actually can accumulate that, because time is in the essence when you do that. So how do you check your credit score? I'm glad you asked. The government has established each year that you can get a free credit report. Two things I like to mention on that is that you can have your annualcreditreport.com. That's annualcreditreport.com. And there's a phone number with that. It's 877-322-8228. 877-322-8228. Also, freecreditscore.com would also give you your credit scores. Who are these reporting agencies? There's Experian, there's TransUnion, there's Equifax, and one that I just picked up recently is Innovis. That's INOVIS. All these organizations report to these financial institutions that you are have applied for funds. There are factors that will generate your scores. Number one, your payment history. You have to start paying your bills on time. Your late payments or your will have negative effect. Second, credit card usage. Your credit card usage is the optimal is 30% of what your maximum balance is, which means basically if you had $1,000 credit limit, you can only use $300 that you're going to pay off at the end of the month. If you go over that, what leads you into number three, which with derogatory marks, which means that basically if you got late payments or no payments and that kind of thing will show up as a derogatory marks on your credit report. The age of your credit has a lot to do with it, which means that basically if you're recently into, if you hadn't created one during college, immediately when you get employed, you be one of the, like a novice or a newbie, and your credit age will determine what your credit score would be. The total number of accounts also will have a favorable or unfavorable impression on your credit report, which means that basically I suggest that basically you keep your accounts to a minimum, which means basically if your mortgage, your car payment, maybe have 2 credit cards and maybe a debit card. So basically you won't be overcrowding your total account. hard inquiries has an effect on your credit report. And what I mean by that is anytime that you apply for a credit card or any type of loan, et cetera, one of the things that I suggest you ask, is this going to be a soft inquiry or a hard inquiry? They have to tell you that. Most times, if you go to, Nordstrom's, Macy's, et cetera, those are hard inquiries unless you ask. Make sure you ask, is this going to be a soft or is this going to be a hard inquiry? Those are the factors on your financial report card. So in order actually to take hold and get serious about building your wealth plan, those are some of the factors. And one of the things I'm going to suggest is, how do I improve that? You said, Dr. Ron, basically, I hadn't paid attention to my credit score in the past. And I know there's some things on there basically that I need to adjust. And one of the things that, first of all, get your credit report, get your free copy of your credit report, and make sure that whether you're Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, or Novus, because different financial institutions use different reporting agencies. So my suggestion is get a copy from each one of these, because sometimes your report history might be on Experian, but it may not be on TransUnion or Equifax. But if you get a copy of all three, you have a good picture of where you stand. That's the beginning of how you create your wealth plan. And how do I improve my score? One of the things that, remember, I told you that basically they look at the age of your credit, finding unauthorized users. Now, I will only suggest that basically you do this for somebody that you know very well, or your children. Remember, I gave you the example about 3 or 4 months ago that some of my peers' parents had put them on their credit card when they was like 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. So by the time they graduated from college, they already have 10 years of credit report that was par excellence, which means that basically when they went in to purchase that Corvette or that baby Mercedes, they can get it from almost on a signature loan or less than 4%. And since my credit was jacked up, if I could afford the vehicle, I would probably have to pay 14%, just because I don't have the credit history of some of my peers when I was a professional. So in order for you to build a platform for your children for the next generation, consider creating an authorized user credit card just for them, something that you know that you're going to be paying off monthly. And my suggestion is put your phone on there, something that you know you're going to use and you're going to be paying it off monthly. And basically, that's how basically they can improve their score. Number two is that there are credit builders apps. And two that I know right off the top of my head is creditstrong.com, creditstrong.com, selflender.com. These are mechanisms that could help you save at the same time. It appears like it's a debt on your credit report, and they will report this to those reporting agencies like Experian, Equifax, and Novus and TransUnion. And right after the break, we will continue talking about being smart with our money.
After the holidays are over, most Americans prepare for taxes. Titan Tax is ready to make filing your taxes as stress-free as possible. This veteran-owned virtual tax office will prepare and submit your tax return safely from the comfort of your home. If you filed unemployment for the first time or wondering about home office tax deductions, Titan Tax Professional has the answer for you. Contact us today at TitanTax.com or 757-565-7781. Titan Tax, real help from real people.
My soul brothers and soul sisters, we're talking about ways to create wealth, and we're using it. My quote of the day is being smart, which means being specific, being measurable, being achievable, and being relevant, and being time bound. And the way we build our wealth plan. And we talk about leverage. We talk about our credit score, which is our financial report card. We talked about how you get it. We're talking about the agencies that reporting agencies that report this information to the financial institutions. And basically, we're talking about ways that we improve our scores. And I said, number one, authorized users. That's one of those things that if you're, I don't use that loosely. So if you have to really, 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 really trust that individual, and it's something that you can build your children credit scores because time in the age of your credit has a lot to do with your score. And I mentioned just before the break that credit builders apps out there. And I mentioned two, creditstrong.com and selflender.com. And these are ways that you can rebuild your credit or establish your credit, because they will report your savings as a debt to the reporting agencies. And here's a couple of more. I ran across this instrument called 15-3 credit method. So basically what it is that once you get your credit score bills up to speed, knowing that everything that's being paid monthly, there's nothing in arrears. So the next month, pay half your bills 15 days prior to the due date. And then pay the rest of it 3 days before the due date. So basically what you're doing is someone gaming the system. So basically at the end of the month, you'll be 2 full payments ahead. And, I'm going to say it again. You pay half your bills 15 days prior to the due date. And then 3 days, you pay the rest of it prior to the due date, which equal to 2 full payments at the end of the month. That's how you can actually start improving your credit score and accelerating what your wealth plan is. Now, here's my bonus for the day. My bonus for the day is for those who have a 30-year mortgage. Make sure you pay your mortgage on time, first of all. Each quarter, pay an extra mortgage payment. In your memo, put principal only. Pay your mortgage each month. At the end of the quarter, pay an extra mortgage payment. In the memo box, principal only. What this does is accelerate your payment from a 30-year to almost down to a 15-year loan. That's number one benefit. The other benefit is that basically you have actually wiped out over $150,000 in interest expense. Because if you look at your payment schedule, you're paying your interest before you start paying your principal. This is one way that you can actually jumpstart your payment to your financial lender. So that's my bonus for today. So let's talk about wealth building. In order to build your wealth plan, you have to have certain things that is included in there. And if it sounds like I'm repeating myself, I probably am. Because you got to have some investments, you got to have some insurance, you have to have ways that you're doing taxes. And one of the things that I wanted to interject when we talk about taxes and education and retirement, but taxes. One of the things about your 401k is that your deferred taxes to when you start taking the money out, which means that basically you're retired, basically you're past 65, so there is no penalty. But one of the things about what your most people don't understand, and the financial planners or financial gurus don't really mention, is that that money, the 401k money, is taxed at the end. So unless you put your money in a 401k with as a Roth, which it means you paying your money as you putting it in, that money, that's the only way that you have tax-free money at time you were withdrawing it. So you have to keep that in mind. So a lot of people are only focusing on how much money I would accumulate at the end, but they don't ever think about the taxes. One thing about the taxes is that when you are, like, say in your 60s, most of your deductions are gone, which means that your children should be out of the house, but that's another question. And basically your mortgage is down, and especially if you use my bonus method of putting in that principal every quarter, you cut it in half. So you have very few tax write-off, which means the income that you have. So basically, if you have $1 million in your 401k portfolio, and you start withdrawing that money, you're being taxed at that level. So that's one of the things you have to consider. So number two, take advantage of your employer's and contribution with the 401k. Now, and the thing about it is, you have more say-so than you think you do regarding that. Okay, they match your 4% or 5%, and then you match that. So my point to you is that investigate, seeing if you can put it in a 401k Roth. Investigate and see if you can just put it in an IRA, period. Investigate and see the taxes and the fees that this advisor has been accumulating over the year. Because you think about it, 1% of $500,000 of your portfolio over from 20, 25, 30, 40 years of your employment, you just bought somebody a beach house, and you need to understand that. So when you look at your statement, you got to realize that money is for future, which means that basically it's almost like it's not in your hands. So don't count money while you're sitting at the table. That's from the gambler. Okay, if you've been on the job 3 to 5 years, you can ask for a raise. That's one way that basically, two ways: you reduce your debts, and you make more money, and that's where you live way below your income. That's how you can actually live more financially stable. So don't be afraid. See what you need to do to actually get that raise. What is the standards? What is the things that, when you have your performance reviews, that may be something that you need to ask your supervisor. What some of the things that if you hadn't done your own investigation, how do I get promoted to the next level? You need a significant portion of your income you need to save. The more aggressive you can be, the better you are. The reason I state that is basically there's what I call, most people recommend that you have 3 to 6 months worth of savings, just in case the company go belly up. A lot of high-tech jobs are laying people off now. Even Hollywood writers are on strike now. So basically, a lot of people who are the AI chat bots are taking some of the high-end underwriters' jobs. So there's the whole economy maybe a month ago looked like it's impenetrable, now are in the flux. So once you accumulate $2,000 in that account, though, I suggest you put it into a high yield savings account So basically, it could be a little fluid that you can get your money your hands on it, just in case, that heavens forbid that you have a flood or fire, or the transmission go out, or basically the hot water heater go out. Some of those major expense that you have to address. One of the ways that you have to create multiple incomes, and what I mean by that, even if you are a professional and you have a job, create other income, like even the rental properties, or actually invest in artwork, coins, etc. Eliminate your debts as you start, being a professional for a while. Look at ways that you can eliminate your debt. Choose smart investment, improve your skills, which means basically you need to listen to podcasts like mine. So basically, there are some things that I can share with you that you might have not thought about, and resist your urge to spend cash. One of the things that I know for sure is that the more money is almost like if you had if you only needed a 3-bedroom house and you get a 5-bedroom house, it's amazing how you start putting stuff in those spaces that you don't need. And the same thing is when you get that raise, you start thinking about ways that you can actually spend it instead of ways that you can actually save it. So those are the things that you have to be, and you have to be smart. Remember, you have to be specific. It has to be measurable. It has to be achievable. And it has to be relevant, and it has to be time bound, which means that basically I suggest that you do it immediately, if not sooner. And this is the way that you can control your assets, and it's ways that you can build wealth. So, brothers and soul sisters, I thank you and appreciate your time. So let's be smart. Until we meet again, my time is up, and I thank you for yours.